How to make your piano chords sound fuller by changing just one note. And no, I am not exaggerating. What's going on, y'all? My name is BruceBeats. I'm a multi-instrumentalist, producer, and educator, and I specialize in helping producers play soulful piano specifically for music production. So in this video, I want to show you this one really great trick. It's one of my favorite techniques to do to make the chords sound a little bit more suave, a little bit more professional. That way we can use them in our productions without having to wreck our brain over the theory. So what we're going to cover today is the technique itself, how we alter just one note of the voicing. We're going to look at how to do that with the major chords, minor chords, altered chords, which are one of my favorite chord qualities, and they really bring that tension that we can then resolve. And we're going to take a look at that progression I just played so we can see how we're using these voicings. Before we get into it, if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button so you can get content just like this on a weekly basis. And over the course of this video, if you dig my teaching style and you like this vibe, hit that like button. Not only does it save it in your liked folder so you can come back to this lesson whenever you need, but it also helps me get this educational content out to more people just like you who need it for free. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So the technique itself is called drop two. Basically that means just drop the second note from the top. And you could do this with any voicing. So let's say we just have a regular C major 7. Okay, we have C, E, G, and B. All I'm gonna do is find the second note from the top. In this case, it's G. Doesn't matter what the note is, it just matters that it's the second note from the top. And I'm gonna bring this down an octave. So instead of playing the chord like this, I'm gonna take this G and play it down here, and it becomes. And you notice when I do it just like this, it sounds a little bit more spread out. We have this very closed sound. But when I drop two, it's a little bit more open. And so we could do this with minor chords as well. So let's say I had an A minor 7 here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the second note from the top, in this case it's E, I'm going to drop it down an octave. And I get this really nice spread. So that's it. It's as simple as that. Now before we take a look at it from a piano perspective, I want to mention this is a really, really great arranging technique. It wasn't too long ago that I was making a track that actually had the two chords in it, A minor and G minor 7. And it kind of went back and forth between these two. And I was arranging some strings and they were going. And I just thought that sounded kind of too tight in the voices. So when I was arranging the strings, I said, hey, what if I used drop two for this string arrangement? So instead of playing A minor 7 like this and G minor 7 like this, I took the second note from the top, I dropped it for the first chord. And then for the second chord, I took the second note from the top and I dropped it. So now I have A minor 7 and G minor 7. You see how it's the same notes? We just rearrange the order by dropping the second note from the top. So we go from this to this. And the strings just sounded much fuller and much cooler arranged in that way rather than being so tight and close together. So this is a really great way to use more of the piano and to use more of the range of notes that we have at our disposal in a very simple way. We just take the note that's already existing there, drop it down an octave. So keep in mind that you can do this when you're arranging your string parts, your vocal parts, your horn parts, and things like that. But let's go ahead and take a look at how we can use this on the piano specifically for those really, really nice, juicy voicings. So drop two voicings sound absolutely incredible when we're playing 9 chords. So major 9, minor 9, even dominant 9 chords, and the like. So let's just take each one by one. So if I'm playing a major 9 chord, let's stick with C major 9, so we have all the white keys. If you don't know how to play that, it's very simple. If we were just to play it in root position, very simple, just stack the notes up like a pancake, play one, skip one, play one, skip one, play one, skip one, all the way until we get to the D, or all the way until we have 5 notes. Now what I'm gonna do here is instead of playing this C here, I'm gonna bring it down an octave. And here I have a nice spread, right? But you notice I have this clump of notes here in this section, a lot of white space, and then one bass note. So a really easy way to fill out the space between these is by using drop two. So I'll take the second note from the top, in this case it's B, and I'll drop it down an octave. So I'll play it here. And notice how this spreads out the voicing evenly from the lowest note to the highest note. And we can see that visually, but we can also hear the difference in the sound. So check it out. Close the voicing, drop 2. Closed, drop 2. Very nice, right? So great thing is we can do this in any key. So let's say we have that F major 9. I'll do the same thing. I'll take this F, I'll play it down here, so I can have that spread. Second note from the top, which is E, drop it down the octave, and now I get. So I could even put those two together, right? You see how professional that sounds? And you see how easy it is to get there? And we can also do the same thing in minor. It is literally the same process. So if we build an A minor 9 chord, okay, play one, skip one, all the way up. I'll take this A, bring it down the octave. Now I have this spread, but I want to fill in the space. So second note from the top, in this case it's G. I'll play it down here with my left hand. Wonderful. So let's pick a chord with some black keys so that we can see it with some black keys. So if I were doing G minor 9, that would be this chord. I'm gonna follow the same exact process. I'll take this G, I'll play it down an octave for that strong bass, and then I will drop 2. So second note from the top, drop it down right here. So now I can put those two together. Now, if you're completely brand new to this and you're completely brand new to the piano and these voicings, some of this may feel a little bit advanced, especially when you're doing the drop 2 because the voices are so spread out. So one of the ways that you can actually make it easier for yourself is you can start by just getting comfortable with the closed voicing shape. So and when you want to start getting used to the drop 2, instead of dropping this down an octave and playing it like this straight away, what we can do is you can start with this closed shape and you can keep playing the closed shape that you're used to. Just also add the drop 2 down here. So add the G, right? So play both of them at the same time. That allows you to kind of get used to the shape while not changing too many things at once. And then once you start feeling comfortable with that, then at that point, you can drop out the G from here. And you can play it like that. So now let's talk about how to use drop 2 with a tension sound. A sound that has a lot of tension to it, that's gonna bring us really nicely to a release. Now this is gonna get slightly more advanced, and as you can see in this chord symbol, we're gonna be talking about a dominant 7, sharp 9, sharp 5 chord. What does that even mean? Knowing what the sharp 9 and the sharp 5 and the dominant 7 is not necessarily the purpose of this video. And as a matter of fact, there's a really nice way that you can start playing some of these chords and some of these sounds before even knowing what these extensions mean, and that's by using the grip system. As a matter of fact, what I just played were voicings that come from the grip system. So if you like these sounds we're getting, I actually have a free masterclass in the description below that will give you an in-depth breakdown of how to use the grip system. It makes playing piano for production and these R&B and neo-soul sounds so easy to play without having to get lost in all this stuff. So definitely check that out after the conclusion of this video. Now for this altered chord, I want to use the A7 altered chord because in the example that we're going to be taking a look at, we're going to use an A altered chord. So how do we do this? It's very simple. All we're going to do is we're going to play these notes: C sharp, F, G, and C. Notice how this has a really cool pattern to it. Black, white, white, white. And then we're gonna take this shape and we're gonna put it over A. So notice how this immediately gives me that A7 sharp 9 sharp 5 chord. So this is an altered dominant chord. And when you play it by itself, it sounds kind of funky, right? But it doesn't really work until you resolve it. That's the whole point of these tension chords. So let's talk about how we can drop to it. So we have this shape, C sharp, F, G, C. Put that over A. And just like we did with the major and minor chords, we'll take this A, but we're gonna play it an octave down. That way we can have this fullness here. And then we take the second note from the top. So in this case it's G. We play the G down an octave. And And now we have a really nice spread of this altered dominant chord. Okay? And then we can resolve that to D major. Or we can even resolve that to D minor. There's a couple other different places we can take it, but those are going to be the main ones. Really love that one. So now that we've taken a look at the drop 2 voicing in major, seeing how it sounds, in minor, seeing how that sounds, and in altered dominant chords, which remember is that tension that we can bring to that resolution. Let's take a look at the progression I played at the very start of this video so we can see how a chord progression sounds when we're playing closed voicings and when we play drop 2 voicings with the same chord progression. So the chord progression is as follows. It's a simple 6 chords long, and I have a red star there just to denote that this is just a quick passing chord. So before we use drop 2, what I want to go over is how we can play this using the grip system. So we're going to be using these 4-note shapes over single bass notes, and from there we can then go ahead and create the drop 2. So I'm just going to play each chord as it goes by, and being that this is a YouTube video, you can pause, you can stop, you can rewind, and you can do all the things. So let's go ahead and play G minor 9. A7 altered, D minor 9. Let's stop right there. We have 4-note shapes over the bass note, 4-note shape over the bass note, 4-note shape over the bass note. So if we were to drop 2 every single one of these voicings, I would simply follow the same process. So instead of playing this closed voicing right here, I'd find my 2nd note from the top, F, drop it down an octave. Now for the A7, this is the one we did before. I'll find my 2nd note from the top, drop it down an octave. And then my D minor, 2nd note from the top, drop it down an octave. So my first line goes from 2 You see how it sounds a little bit more professional, sounds a little bit fuller in that way. Let's skip that D flat minor 9 right now and just take a look at the 2nd line. So we have C minor 9, which we're going to play like this. B major 9. And then B flat major 9. So if you notice, the bass just moves down chromatically. We have that C, 1/2 step down to B, 1/2 step down to B flat. Okay? And so if we drop to it, take this B flat, play it down the octave. Also a B flat, bring it down the octave. A. So the 2nd line goes from to very, very nice. Now let's go ahead and add this D flat minor 9 in. I want you to notice something really simple. We have D, D flat, and C. So we have another 3 half steps there. D, D flat, and C. And so all the voicings just move down chromatically. So starting on that D minor 9, we go down a 1/2 step, down 1 more 1/2 step. Now when we add the drop 2 to each one of those voicings, see how I'm highlighting that for you? So we go from this to this. See, that sounds just a little fuller. Now, for those of you who are a little bit more beginner and low intermediate, being able to execute on this progression in its entirety may seem a little bit daunting. And if so, that's completely okay. This is 7 chords long. It's perfectly fine just to take the first 3 and spend time really understanding that and just being able to execute on that. Or maybe you like the sound of these 3 a little bit more. You don't have to try and play this entire thing. You can break it up into chunks and you can work on just that part so you can get it under your fingers. But for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna go ahead and play the entire progression, number 1 in just the closed voicings, and then number 2 using drop 2. So let's go ahead and hear that. Nothing wrong with that. Sounds really cool. Just a little bit more open. So that is how you can make piano chords sound fuller by changing just one note in the voicing. If you like this video, definitely hit that subscribe button and hit that like button so you can be notified when videos just like this drop. And you'll also be helping me reach more people who need this musical education. If you like this way of learning and you want a more intuitive approach to being able to play these soulful chords, definitely click the link in the description so you can check out my free grips masterclass. And if you like the grips, on the class you will learn about my grip system mastery program, where I've helped over 1,200 producers just like yourself be able to play sounds like these faster than they ever thought possible. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this video. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. If you have any topics you would like me to discuss, drop those in the comments below as well. I read every single comment. Looking forward to hearing from you. Much love. This is Bruce Beats. Peace.